get into a video about why are your products not selling, what you need to do to get them to sell, and that very important thing of, sometimes it just takes time. I know none of us love to hear that, but it is absolutely true. So welcome to our Sunday chat. Each Sunday we have a chat on here, and if you would like to be involved, all you need to do is log on to YouTube, and you can just see exactly what we're talking about, and hopefully these tips and tricks really do help you along the way of making your little business work. Also, if you're interested in joining our Patreon, just go over there. All the links are in the top of my YouTube channel on the right-hand side, and you'll be able to see everything over there as well. So just go over there, and we give all the recipes, tips, and tricks on there as well. Hello, Mark. Welcome, my love. Welcome to our Sunday chat. I know I'm probably a minute early, aren't I? And usually I'm like a minute late. But anyway, I try to get on here and so that everyone can see what I'm doing. But I think today is going to be super important for a lot of people, because this week I've had so many people asking me. They're saying, my product's not selling. Why is it not selling? How can I get it to sell? They think they have an amazing product. And there's a number of tips and tricks I'll give you. And, look, honestly, selling products isn't easy. Let's be honest here. It's really hard. It's hard because you might have a great idea. So I'll show you in front of me. This is one of mine here. You made it, Deb. Welcome, lovely. So, this is one of my bath bombs. It looks pretty fantastic. But if you don't take the right photos, if you don't, make it look good, if you're not putting it on the site, you're not adding the words, you're not doing all of those, you're never going to sell one. So let's be honest, that's just the way it is, whether we like it or not. It's really hard. And that's why huge companies have big products, involved to help. Hi, Chris. Welcome, lovely, from Florida. Hello, Trish. Welcome, my love. You're my big supporter, Trish. I know you're always on here. And Jillian, how are you going from Trinidad today, my love? I hope you're going really, really well. So today, like I said, we're going to get into a chat. I do have my questions aside to me, so I'll pop them aside. And I just wanted to talk about this before we get into this chat as well, because lots of people have been asking me lots of different things. And as I say to everybody, when I do videos on here or Patreon or anything, I actually do need to spend quite a lot of time to actually study these, write down the notes, make sure I know what I'm talking about, and that's going to be valuable to everybody and things like that. So that's why I do that. And a few people have asked me, why have I opened the Patreon? And that's why, originally I wasn't going to. And then I just thought, well, look, it's really important because the Patreon really does help me, get forward and, help creating this, help me keep creating, because if I don't actually do something like that, then, you need money to create, let's be honest. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of time for me to do it. So anyway, as I said, if anybody wants to join my Patreon, just go over there. You can choose $5, $10 or $20 a month. That's how it works. But read all the information over there. I won't go over that today. And hopefully that's really good. Oh, hello, Sea Star Soap. Oh, I'm so glad that you've caught our live, my love. So welcome to our live. Today is all about selling products. And let's be honest, as creators, we love to create, we love to make, but at the end of the day, that costs money and we want to make money. So this video is going to be all about the making money side of this. And so whether you're a hobbyist or whether you're a full business, whether you're thinking about starting this as a business, this is probably a good video for you to give you ideas on, how we're going to do it, what we're going to do, and so on. So anyway, like I said, we'll get started about this. And now we're going to be talking about the hard facts of selling and making products to make money. Good morning, Heather. Good morning, love. Welcome to our Sunday chat. So now, and also, how we're going to make money, of course. So before you even think about making money, there's something really important you need to think of. And look, no one wants to hear this, but it's cash flow. We need cash flow, and that basically means, we make a bath bomb, we sell the bath bomb, a certain amount of these products keep staying here, a certain amount of it goes in your pocket. And you do need to invest a certain amount of your money again back into your bath bombs, because that's how you're going to be able to afford to continue and grow, because you want to sort of buy in wholesale. In the end, at the start, you can't afford it. You just got to buy small and hope you make enough money. But that's important. And also pricing your products the right way is important. There's no good selling this for $3. There is no good doing that. You will never make money, and you will never be successful, because you won't have enough money to put in advertising. So what I wanted to say too, before I get into about selling, if you've got a product that you're going to sell for $5, you've got to remember, in that money, you've got to cover your cost for making it and your electricity and all those things. Of course, the products, that you need to put in it, the materials that you need to put in it. And then on top of that, say if you're selling at a market where you're going to pay fees at the market, so a small percentage of each item needs to come out to pay that market. And then you also need a small percentage of that to move forward, to grow your business. And that might mean paying for a website to be built. It might mean paying for professionals in your field to actually help you. It might be a business coach, whatever, a mentor, a Patreon that you might be joining. That is all a part of, your profits. So, and it's really important. And when I first started, I never thought about it. I'm going to be brutally honest. I never thought about that at all. It didn't enter my mind to even think about these things, but it's super duper important. So anyway, let's get down to it. Now, so number one, I'm going to answer the most important question that everybody is going to ask. And I'm sorry for my YouTube, I have to keep flicking them off. So number one, why are my products not selling? I mean, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me that, I'd be so rich, because I honestly get asked this all the time. So number one, look, teach yourself. You don't need to pay for anyone to do this either. I've taught myself everything. So you need to look at your website. You need to look at images. You need to look at text. You need to look at SEO. You need to look at your branding. So those things are important. And the thing that's important, it's not, do you know what? You could have the best bath bomb in the whole world. You could have the most amazing one that you can ever see. But if nobody sees it, if nobody reads, a story about that, then they're not going to buy it. So as a lot of you know on here at the moment, I've actually finally got to a stage where I've actually paid somebody to actually create a website for me. It is up, but it's still, in the working. So there's a few things to be tweaked, but it's looking pretty good. So the one thing, with things like that, which I've learned the last couple weeks doing this, from the web developers, as they've said, like a lot of people just start and they write, like a little blurb or something. But the thing is, that blurb may not be perfect. You might have spelling mistakes. It might not be like selling the story of the product. And that's something I've learned a lot. Because I thought, oh yeah, I'm telling really good. And I thought, yeah, I'm saying the size, the color, this. And to me, I had everything ticked off. But as they said, the story isn't there behind it. People need to know, how do you use it? Why would you use it? Why do they want to buy it? Why do they want to buy mine over someone else's? Is it sustainable? Is the color ethically sourced? I mean, there's so many things that you don't think of putting in a website, but those things are important. And you don't need to write all those words, but you need to write like a little story around each product when you're putting it in a website. Whether you're using a website, whether you're using Etsy or anything like that, just remember that your story is important to go in the background. And I think that's important because I've actually had quite a few people say to me that they liked the little writing that was in the middle of it. So that is important. And I know it's important. It really, really is. Now, when we're talking about images, you can use your iPhone. You don't need to buy a big camera or anything like that. You can use it. And, there's places like Canva, which lots of you know I use Canva. And if you go into, if you have a pro account in Canva, what you can actually do is you can click on the image, edit the image, and then you can remove the background from the image as well. You could even put, a pink background, a blue background, an orange background. You can put whatever you want on it. Or you can leave it transparent. So when you put it on a website, it's literally only the hero is just the product. The hero is not the background. And that's one thing I did wrong at the start. I thought, oh yeah, this jazzy background, but it takes away from the product. So you have to remember all of that, and that is super, super important as well. So when you're doing images, just think of the image. You can have your main shot as your transparent, and then maybe your second shot is going to be a lifestyle image of, you know, for instance, if it was a bath bomb, it may be this, and it may be sitting on the edge of a bath with, you know, some decorations or whatever. But you can do a lot of these things in your own home. If you've got a bathroom, even if your bathroom's old, it doesn't matter. You know what I do, and many people maybe know, because I've talked about it a few times, but we're renovating our home. So our bathroom's half pulled out. So, of course, I can't use that for my photos, but what I actually use is buy 2 massive big tiles, which you can get from your hardware store, and you put one up this way and one this way. So it literally looks like a bathroom, because no one's going to see anything else but that. And I actually have a little prop bath that I use, and all the links for that should be on most of my videos, and they're also on Patreon. So if you go onto Patreon, there is a suppliers list of all the different things that I use. And the prop list will be on that one as well. And so you can do something like that. So even if you don't have a brand new, you know, really amazing bathroom, you can literally set a scene. You can create your own. You can even buy chipboard and just stick some tiles onto it, or a tile looking background. There's so many things you can do. If you can't afford to buy all the old vinyls and things like that, you can make yourself a background as well if you want a background, not a transparent. And that can create a lifestyle shot. So don't think that you need a fancy home or something really fancy to do it. And one thing I've seen, I can't remember the girl's company, or else I would tell, but she makes candles, and I've seen it. So it's in the country, and she has like a massive big fence log, and she puts her candle on that, and it looks so nice. And she makes sure she gets sunset images in the background, some are sunset, some are dusk, and that looks so good. And it really does, you know, look like her business, because it's like a country kind of farm where she makes everything. And anyway, and I just thought that was a really clever thing. So don't feel like you need the most fancy, expensive, beautiful, you know, design looking home to take images. You don't. Just think of how you're going to do it, and you can create yourself your own little light box as well. I mean, iPhones and that are so good now that they just do so many good things, close-ups and all of these amazing things. So anyway, like I said, they're things that you can do, but on Canva, you do need a pro account to be able to remove the background, but there's many other things that you can do on Canva as well. So, you know, take a look at that and use some of their templates. There's lots of free ones as well if you're trying to do that and just getting your brand a little bit better. But just try and make sure your brand is quite consistent and, you know, the same way. And when I was designing my site, you know, and talking to the web developer, that's one thing I said, it must be pink. 100%, you must have this pink, because everything else that I have is pink. So that was my only real thing I wanted, was pink and the beautiful scripted kind of writing that I like. So, you know, whether you get your own web developer or you do it yourself, if you're getting someone else or a graphic designer or anything, you really need to tell them what you want. You need to give them, as we say in the design, because I was studied interior designer, you need to actually tell them with design your brief. So your brief means exactly what you want, the colors you want, the style you want, what you're going for, and so on. So if you're doing that, that's definitely something that I suggest. And it is hard to say, no, I don't like it as well. So, you know, it's really, really difficult. So what I'm going to say as well is we're going to do that, and we're going to ignore any comments that come up. Some people say silly things and I just ignore it. So now, so we've done that, and text, like I said, talk about the text, which is going to be exactly what you're going to be, you know, writing about, your story. Make sure you do a little story on each thing as well. And of course, the website, like I said, needs to be consistent and needs to look like you or your company. And, you know, look, lots of people say to me they're shy in front of a camera, but you know what? People do want to see you. They do want to know who you are, and they want all of that. So it is important to show a bit of yourself. If you're a bit shy, maybe show your hands at the start, you know, and then slowly show your face. And it doesn't have to be, as you can see me here, it may be something a little bit different as well. Look, I talked about this on my Patreon, but I'm just going to quickly talk about it on here. one thing that I will say, when you're on any social media, you need to get a thick skin. It's really hard because you often do have people that say things that can be hurtful, and sometimes they don't mean them to be hurtful, but they can say things that really do come across as mean, and it's really hard not to take it personally. So you need to get a thick skin. I definitely suggest that you do that. 100% get a thick skin, because that's literally all you can do, isn't it? Oh, hello, welcome, lovely. Welcome to today's channel. So, and we're talking all about business today. And as lots of you know, I welcome people as they come along, and people will watch this at a later date, which is fine with me too. So now we've talked about that. When we're talking about SEO, that just means your search engine optimization. And to cut that short, to make it easy to understand, all that means is, in Google, if you write, for instance, soap, then they're the things that come up. So when you're Googling something, the search engine, you want that to pick it up. So you want them to recognize your site, that, okay, that company has soap. Great, I pushed in soap, I can buy it. And that's what it is. But it doesn't just happen by just writing a word. Sometimes you need a professional to help, and I've learnt that myself. I do get a lot of people to my site, but to get more people and more people knowing my product, you definitely need people helping with that. If you look at some of my other videos, you can see the web developer that has helped as well. I'll try, after this video, I will actually link his business in there, and you can just have a look at that. And I'm sure he'll answer any questions you have if you go directly to their website and ask a question as well. Oh, hi, Paula. Welcome, my love. Welcome to the channel. It doesn't matter if you're late. You can watch back anything that we've talked about anyway. So we've talked about that. And, getting a website is super important, everybody. Jillian, yeah, the thick skin is really hard, Jillian. I'm going to tell you that it's hard. I've had, and I'm not going to repeat what anybody has said to me as well. Oh, welcome to the first live, my love. Welcome. So one thing, I won't repeat what anyone has ever said to me, but I will say, people have said, said things about me personally, the way I look. And it's really hurtful. And there have been days that I've cried, it's really hurtful. But sometimes you just have to remember, maybe they're not a very nice person. Maybe they're not as nice as you. Maybe they don't realize how mean they're being, and so on. So I totally get it, Jillian. 100% I get it. It's really hard. And, the thing is too, lots of people say to me, oh, thank you, Carol. You're a love. And a lot of people say to me, they say, oh, you look amazing. You're nearly 50. Like, I'm nearly 50 years old. But sometimes you'll have somebody else that will say something different. And that is really hurtful. Even when my dad was very sick, I had a few people make comments about that, which was so hurtful. But you know what? You just have to try and get a thick skin and, just honestly, just move on from that. So anyway, that's something I wanted to say. And whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Etsy, it doesn't matter. They're all social media platforms. And sometimes you can just get somebody, if you don't like the comment, delete it. And you will see if somebody writes mean comments on my YouTube, I delete them. So you'll see them removed. Or if they even can come across that I think they might hurt another person, I remove them. So I'm not giving anyone power to write something mean to me. I will remove it if they say something I don't like in social media, the same thing. And when you're doing, when you have Instagram and things like that and you put a post, and often you'll get someone, and I can't stand it, drives me nuts, where they say promote it. And then they want you to promote it. I delete their comment straight away, their promoted comment, so that I'm not giving them power to keep doing it. And I never respond to that. I just delete it every time. So that's what you need to do. You need to get a bit tough and just go, okay, I can deal with this. I'm going to get rid of it. Just be a bit of an adult and realize that not everyone's nice. Sadly, they're not. But anyway, so I've blabbed about that enough, but that is super important. I wanted you to know that as well. Oh, that's right, Mark. And sometimes, Mark, as well, because Mark was saying, sometimes it shows they're a bit broken. But you know what else? It's important as well. Yeah, Dawn, yeah, it's hard, isn't it? But what was I going to say about that as well? Oh, that's right. Sometimes you've got to remember people have mental illnesses. So some people have a mental illness and, they can't help it. Like I have a son, my son is nearly 30 and he's severely autistic and mentally disabled. So sometimes he says things and he doesn't realize either. And that's the thing that, like over the years, I've sort of learnt with him, he'll say, Mum, go away, I hate you. And I mean, kids say that, they don't mean it, but they just say it. So as a parent, you're like, oh, and that's really upsetting. But then you get over it and you realize they're just a kid and they don't realize. But anyway, so like I said, sometimes people have an illness and that's why they do it as well. So you have to just go, okay, maybe they can't help it. Or as some of you have said, maybe they're jealous, maybe they're envious. And my daughter, and I've talked about one of my daughters in particular, that her name's Emily, and she has an extremely successful Etsy store, like very successful. And I'm so proud of her because it's hard on Etsy. And I know because I've done it and made no sales, like nothing. But she has months of selling $15,000 on Etsy. So, and all she sells is earrings. So she has a little earring business. I shouldn't say little because she sells thousands of them. But I'm going to go into a little bit about that story for you to hopefully give some of you some inspiration on about Etsy as well. But anyway, we've talked about that. Now, make sure too that your website speed is pretty good because if, it takes forever to load and your pictures are too big, people go, no, I'm not interested, and they just get off. They can't be bothered. So that is super important, making sure that your images are not blurry. And one thing that I've been doing on mine at the moment is sometimes I had like a background and then sometimes I had transparent. It doesn't read very well. It looks a bit cheap. So either you need to have the front, and we're talking the front image they see. So for instance, if they see this bath bomb, it's going to be a transparent background. And when they click onto the product, then it might have a lifestyle shot. So then that would be different. But you want the front image to always be the same and transparent, or to always have a orange background or whatever background you're going to be using. So try and keep that very similar to that as well. And one thing super important now, and I'm going to tell you because there's a website, which I won't say the website, but there's a website I've been on lately to try and find some components for jewelry because we're going to put some soaping kind of inspired earrings onto our site. And, it was so hard, really hard to navigate. And I just went, look, honestly, I gave up. I said, oh, this is ridiculous. And I was on an iPhone. And then I went to another company, and this company I found is called Whimsical. And they are in Healesville, Victoria. And their website is amazing, like really easy to navigate, really easy to go on, very good. So that's what I'm going to say. And they were a much smaller business, but I thought, you know what, I'll support them. Their website's good, easy to navigate. I can use the iPhone to buy. Because when I'm actually buying products, I only use my iPhone. I only go on my computer to write things about, usually like Patreon things and things like that. So anyway, so that's something that I thought I would talk about as well. So hopefully that makes it good. And like I said, your description needs to be professional. Make sure you look at the spelling mistakes. And look, sometimes you'll look at the biggest companies and they have a couple spelling mistakes. So don't be too hung up on it. Try your best. But if there's one or two, well, that's life, isn't it? We're not all perfect. It's just the way it is. And also one thing that the web developer has told me, which I think is really a good idea, he was saying have a Q&A. So, like just questions that people might want to know, like how long is it going to take to get here? What happens if I'm not happy? Can I complain? Can I put a review on your website? Like all these things are really important. So, and things that you might not have thought of, like what's it made out of? What's the process of making it? Maybe you can create videos on your process, things like that. So they're things that I've definitely learnt from the web developer. And you learn things, don't you? As you meet any different professional in it, you might think, oh, I'm really good at that, but then you realize, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. So that's something that I just thought about as well. Now, and I thought, let's talk about the start. How do you actually start selling your products? So I'm going to give you a rundown of 1 to 6, what you need to do. And of course there's other things, but this is important. So number 1, you need to research. I did a lot of research on YouTube before I started. Then you need to get your recipe. If you can't make your own recipe or you don't know how, you can get ones from people like myself where you can get the recipe and try it from there. Oh, you have no time. Well, I'm telling you, Sabrina, starting your own business takes a lot of time. And there are days that I work 18 hours because that's what happens. You have to be super, super committed to be a business owner. Like, I'm not going to lie. You can't be doing it to 2 hours a day. You need to be so committed to do this business. And my daughter, who owns her own business, same thing. She sometimes spends 12 hours a day making earrings. So, and she, you know, so yeah, so that's one thing I wanted to say. It's really important. Oh, thank you, lovely. Is it called Rada? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but thank you for that comment. That's really nice. And I do try and teach people and help you because I know when I first started, it was really hard to actually get like this kind of advice. No one talks candidly about exactly how to actually do this. Like, nobody really does talk about it. So I find that bit the hard bit too. But yeah, and so now, so like we said, research is number 1. Number 2 is get your recipe. Number 3 is get supplies. Start off just getting them from your local supermarket. See if you even like making soap or bath bombs or whatever. So that's really important. So I do suggest that. Then number 4 is making it and testing it. You must test it. Because if it's garbage, you're not going to know if you don't test it. So don't think, oh, well, I'm going to waste the product, so I won't. You do need to do that. Then after that, I suggest that you get a website. If it's not a website, you can go on Etsy or something like that. You know, eBay, there's so many different platforms. And then, of course, number 6 is selling your product and getting excited when you get the ka-ching from, you know, your website or Etsy, because that's a little bit exciting as well. Oh, that's okay, Sabrina. Anytime, love. And I know because when, you know, and look, when I first started a business many years ago, I'll tell you, I went, I'll do it, I won't. And I procrastinated for years. And then in the end, I thought, oh, well, I'm getting older. This is ridiculous. I need to just do something here. And you know what? You're not too old. I have people that have said to me they're starting a business in their 70s. I mean, you don't know. You might end up making a really good wage for 10 years, from 70 to 80. And there's many people that are 90 and really, you know, they're going out to dinner, enjoying life, playing cards. My husband's nana was 90, still doing all that. So, you know, you just don't think I'm too old or I'm too young or whatever. You're going to learn as you go along. And if it doesn't work, you've had fun, just don't take out a business loan. That is my number 1 advice. No loans. Just try and sell a little bit, make a bit. Maybe you do a market, you know, and so on. But markets is how I got started. I don't do them anymore because I'm too busy now, but that's definitely how I got a lot of my clients at the start and got my word out there. And of course, YouTube and Instagram, all of those social medias do help you. I don't do a lot on Facebook. Sometimes I'm on there, but it is important. Oh, what do I do to test them, Mark? So say, for instance, we'll pretend I'm going to make a soap. So if I'm going to make a soap that I want to be a cleansing soap, we'll pretend it's cleansing. Then what I do is you make the product. Obviously, you leave it for the curing time. And then what I do is I will slice that bar of soap in, say, 4 slices. So one of them I will use at a cure time of, say, 4 weeks. One at a cure time of 6 weeks. One at 8 weeks. And so on. Because that way you're going to see, is it getting harder? Is it getting better as you're going along as well? Oh, okay. I'll answer that question in a minute, lovely, because that's a good question. And remind me in case if I forget. But I'll just answer Mark. So that's what I do, Mark, like sort of slice a bar like that. And then what you're going to do, you want to see that it's not an itchy bar. It's not too cleansing. Is it cleansing enough for how you want it to be? Is it bubbly enough? So, and then, you know, you'd be writing your findings. Like, are those findings the same at 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks? And so on. And especially if you're making a baby soap, and I think I've sold out at the moment, but I make a baby soap that cures for 12 months. So, you know, you want to see it 11 months, 12 months, 18 months, is it still getting better? And I found 12 months is the absolute best one. Now, I'm going to answer another person's question of what they said, which is a really good question. Often when, you know, say you go on TikTok and you see people, or Instagram, you know, I see them on YouTube a lot. Now, I have talked slightly about this before. And say, for instance, they'll say, I've earned $900 and something thousand on Etsy. Well, you might have earned $900,000, but you've got to ask, are they paying for advertising? Do they have a professional helping them here? Have they just been super lucky for the algorithm to pick them up? Because sometimes that happens no matter what you do. It's just luck, what sort of happens as well. So there's lots of things behind it, but I know it's really depressing when you see people and they've made, $15,000 in sales. Like I said, my daughter on Etsy, generally she sells about 5,000 to 6,000 is normal for her a month on Etsy. But I'm telling you, I've never sold anything like that. I think I've sold, honestly, 6 products on my last Etsy, and I opened another one for a test. But, that's the thing. But the thing, if you're doing Etsy, as she said, there's a couple things you need to do in the background. So you need to fill out all the attributes, which will say the size, the color, the centimeter dangle, and whatever else it's going to be. And then in your description, your wording, you don't just write pink earrings. It needs to be pink earrings that are quirky, that are fun, that are, dance party, teen. You need to write all these words because Etsy pick up all those words. And then in your description, same thing, you need to write keywords. And then there's tags. You must use every tag. And my daughter said to me, which is funny, say she makes an earring that's a pink heart. Sometimes in it, you might need to write in tags things that people are going to look for. They're going to look for Vampire Diaries. They might look for Scooby-Doo. They might look for something else. You're not copywriting anything because you're not stealing their design. It may have nothing to do with that, but that's what a lot of Etsy sellers do. They write words that have no link to that. They just search up. If you Google most common search for words in Etsy, it will come up. And it will tell you the words, and you need to write them in because people are going to Google them and your thing will come up. And the more you sell on Etsy, the more reviews you have, the closer to the top you get, which is kind of wrong because somebody new comes in, they have zero chance. And like I said, my daughter has sold thousands of products, like thousands of orders. And so she comes up on the first page because she sold so much. And that's the thing that I do want to say to people as well, that sometimes it is the algorithm. A lot of you may know, I actually talked about this once before. When I first started TikTok, I thought, I'm going to start this. I'm too old for TikTok. But my daughter, who was 12 at the time, said, Mum, you got to do it. So I did it. And honestly, I think it was lucky. The algorithm picked me up. And all I was doing was making a bath bomb. And I think I've had about 120,000 views on that video. And that was luck because the algorithm had picked me up. And so now I have close to 7,000 followers because the more the algorithm picks you up, the more people follow you. Because if they follow you, then the algorithm is more lucky to pick them up. So that's how it kind of works. So sometimes I really believe a lot of things are luck with social media. But, if you're not posting every day, you're not doing all this, it's just not going to happen. So even if you're not getting bites, you're not getting that, and it took me a long time before I actually started selling. And I will tell you, because my website has had the maintenance thing on the front, even though it's been up and you could use it and everything else. Yeah, even though that you can use it, the one thing that is important to say as well, like I don't think I've had a sale on like my website, because I have 2 websites, my normal Nelson Soapry. I haven't had a sale for 2 weeks. And I think that is because, I was doing the maintenance, but this is what I want to say. This is the worst time for selling because we've got over Christmas now and a lot of people aren't buying. Yes, you caught my live, Brenny. Yes, you did, my love. So that's the thing too that is really important, everybody. Please don't think that, when you see a seller that says, look at my 4,000 orders, sometimes they're lying. Sometimes they're just saying that. It doesn't mean they have that many. Sometimes they do because, some people have a lot of money to invest in their business and then they're going to get more and more buyers. Everything I've done is organic. So that's the one thing too that is super important as well to talk about, and just make sure you tell yourself, okay, it doesn't matter if I don't get an order this week. It's not the end. I'm going to keep going and I'm going to keep pushing. And honestly, most people tell you it takes 5 years to, I think I'm on 3 years now, and it's really only the last 6 months or so that I've really started to get more followers and so on. So it's super important. Hello, Amanda. Welcome, lovely. So, that's the one thing that I really just wanted to say, that please don't feel, don't compare yourself to the ones doing thousands of orders. You'll get there, but it takes years, honestly. And these people, you don't know, they could have been doing this for 6 years, 8 years, 10 years before they've got that. So please don't think that. And sometimes it can just be they went viral. And I think Bathbox talked about that in a thing, that they said they went viral and now they're a huge company. But, sometimes it is a bit of luck. And then once you get the money, then what you can actually do is start to go from there. So once, so say you earned, we're going to say $50,000, which I haven't earned that, but let's say you earned $50,000, then you can invest and keep going and keep going. Oh, hi Sherry, how you going, my love? Welcome. And so anyway, like I said, this is what I really want to say, that please don't compare yourself to a big company, because you're just starting out and you're not going to get orders at the start. Sometimes it takes months and months. Like when I started my website, it took a while to get orders. So don't think I'm going to start a site and I'm going to get an order tomorrow. You're not. And you might get one now and none for a month. But you might get heaps. So, just keep going and just keep changing things and going, okay, that doesn't work. Maybe I'll start something else. It's the same product, but, maybe you need to tweak your pictures. Maybe the pictures aren't bright enough. There's so many things you can do. So that's really important. And that's what I wanted to say, that please make sure that, don't compare yourself to a big company. But I will give you a bit of tips on what my daughter's done, and hopefully that sort of helps. So as we said, for Etsy, and go and have a look at my daughter's one, and then you'll see, you can get some ideas by just looking at hers as well, and you'll see keywords she's used. But her company's called Honey Blue You, and she, like I said, she's on Etsy. But also my daughter is not just on Etsy. Every single weekend she does 2 to 3 markets on a weekend, all along the bays and so on. So she does her markets. She also has her products in a company called, I think it's called 2.0 or 0.2 or something. And what it is, it's a massive market that you don't need to be there to man it. You put all your products, they sell, and they have codes on them, and then they pay you at the end of the month. So she has hers in there, and she also has hers in another one similar to that as well. So like I said, she's got Etsy, she's got the 2 warehouses where they're put in. They're not her warehouses, they're just ones that she puts her stuff in, and like I said, and markets and Etsy. So really she has 4 avenues of selling them. Oh, actually 5, because she also has a website which she's only just opened. But most of her sales are on Etsy, because now she comes to the top of them. And she sells her earrings for $12.95. And I've seen people selling their earrings for $5, a similar earring to hers, and they don't have the sales she has. So don't think putting it cheap means you're going to make sales. No, you just need to set your price, and that's it. So like I said, she uses all the keywords. She uses, you need to put a 50-word description, which is all the keywords that you need to add. You need to use right colors, size, texture, and so on. That is important in the words as well. Also, allow your products to be seen on multiple sites. Like I said, it might be Facebook, Instagram, maybe YouTube. A lot of people don't do YouTube. You don't have to, but all of those different things, websites, and there's plenty. Type in Google free websites to advertise on, and there's plenty of local community ones that are free. So you can actually start that way as well, even just with a couple products. Or there's some websites that, are $70 for a whole year. You're not going to get the people that you would on Shopify, but it's a start. So you've got to start somewhere. So that's the one thing that I do suggest. And don't spend money that you don't have. That's something that I'll say, because I see that a lot where people go, oh, I've only got $5, I'll buy something. So just try not to do that. Do I think things are oversaturated? No, I don't. Because I was watching today another YouTuber, and they were saying, look, don't quote me, but it was so many billion-dollar industry in the soaping industry. So, it's huge. I mean, we can't serve everyone. The thing that I don't think it's saturated. You just need to get your product right and in front of somebody else. That's all it is. And you want them to share it. You want them to like it. You know, and that's what I always say to people. if you're joining my Instagram, make sure you say, hey, seen you on YouTube, and I'll follow you back, because that will help you and it will help me. So that's the thing too, you know, with other soapers, make sure you follow them, because the more people that are on your, you know, social media, the more people think, oh, that's a legitimate business too. So, you know, you need to do things like that as well. And sometimes, look, let's be honest, we don't know everything. Sometimes you need a bit of a mentor. And, you know, that's why, like, I have the Patreon now, so you can join that and hopefully you can get some more mentoring tips. But also, whether it's my Patreon or someone else's, sometimes you may want just to get that mentor, because it's really hard and sometimes a little impossible to get going. And the reason I think I'm successful too is I have a background in business as well. So that's the thing. And you need that. You need people to tell you what to do. I get people to say, I don't even know how to register a business. I don't know how to choose a business name. What do I do? And I just take that for granted because I know, but I've taught myself and I'm patient, but a lot of people aren't patient. So do remember, you need a couple years for this to be successful. So if you can't live on nothing, which most of us can't, you need to have a normal job and do this on the side. So hopefully that helps a little bit as well. And like I said, you know, your Etsy, your Facebook, Instagram, your websites, and so on. Oh, I'm a good mentor. Thank you, Deb. You're lovely. Thanks so much. I really hope that this does help people. Like, I really honestly do as well. So, because that is super important. And as I said, like, I was going to talk a little bit about my daughter with her website. And like I said, she makes her earrings. She creates it all of herself. And I've seen, and she's even had people say, how do you make it? I want to start an Etsy. And she doesn't tell them because she's not going to give away everything. But as she said, she's seen them all come and then go, because they think it's a get quick scheme. And they think that, you know, she's just done this, made all this money and left. But she spent many months of making no money. You know, she really did spend months of nothing and just continuously doing it. So it's really important. Oh, that's okay, Sabrina. No problem, lovely. So just make sure, like I said, you know, please make sure that, you know, you just don't expect too much at the start. You can't even find a name. I know, lots of people say to me, what do I call it? And I mean, obviously my surname's Nelson, so that's why mine, Nelson Sopery, was born, and my gorgeous dad had the same name. So because I kept my maiden name, I didn't use my married name. I've never used it. So that's why. So, but as I said, you know, these are things that are important. So make sure that you look into it. And Etsy is not for everybody either. As I said, I've actually started my new one because I'm going to do this as a test for 6 months to see if it works. But I'm only going to put earrings on it. And my daughter and I said to her, I'm going to see if this actually works. I'm going to do all the things she suggested. So I'll let you all know. Oh, that's okay for being transparent. Yeah, it's important. Super duper important. And lots of people have asked me as well. You would have noticed my last recipe on here, my last bath bomb. I've said the recipes on Etsy. I will be giving out some recipes on here, but I will be giving, but some I won't give the full recipe. They'll be on Patreon. And as I said, it's because honestly, that does help me, because I was at a stage, I was running at a loss making videos because, you know, making the product costs money, and, you know, I really was at a loss. So anyway, that's why I've done that. But I will still be putting recipes on here, but it won't be every recipe. It might be every third or fourth recipes on here. So all the other ones will be on Patreon. And then on the first week of Patreon as well. Oh, you're loving my Patreon. Oh, I'm so glad, because it is new. And Brenny, so that everyone knows as well, the first week I have decided I'm going to do a teaching online class, which will be available for everybody that's on, you know, that is on my Patreon. Whether you're $5, $10 or $20 level, you will all get that as well. So that will just be like a masterclass in like anything, bath bombs, moisturizers. We'll go through all different things, but once a month. So do make sure you go over there and join, like I said, the Patreon. It's really easy and you can see all the posts. And with mine, I don't have like things locked. So some Patreons, what they do is only give you a couple recipes a month, but all of mine are unlocked. So whenever you go on there, you'll just see them. They will be unlocked. So hopefully that's good as well. Oh, you love it too, Cherie. Thank you, lovey. Yeah, I'm actually surprised how many people have joined. At the start, I thought maybe none. But yeah, no. But I really hope it does help, because that's a platform that's good, and it gives me more time to explain things, because obviously on YouTube, I'm doing a video and that's it. But Patreon allows you to put more links in it. It allows you to do more like blog type things and so on. So hopefully... Oh, you're learning a lot, Deb. I'm really glad you are on Patreon. So hopefully everybody sees that and decides it's a great idea. But either way, like I said, choose for yourself. But even following me on YouTube is really, really helpful, because I do get paid a small amount from YouTube each month. So that really does help. But anyway, I think I've taken enough of your gorgeous Sundays, or probably Saturday nights if you're in the US, because... you're a little bit behind us in time. So anyway, but like I said, I'm going to go out now, make myself some lunch soon, and I will be getting onto my Patreon to organize my next post, and later on this evening, as long as it loads on time. Last week it didn't load on time. They are also on Patreon, you'll see behind the scenes, which I give you for the full week of what I'm actually up to and what I'm doing. So this week's been a little bit different. I haven't done heaps of soap. More earrings and things. But anyway, I will see you next week. Bye, everyone.